So I just got back in from walking the dogs, and honestly, I was a little annoyed about it. I, I don't I don't love to say that, they're like bad dogs. I just think we probably trained a couple habits in some of our older dog, and probably are doing so with our younger dog, that are probably unsustainable and maybe not as convenient for us. But that's kind of how it rolls. It's usually the human that needs the most training. But our older dog doesn't always like to go outside to go to the bathroom by himself, and really likes to paw at us until we go with him. So putting that aside and what to do with it, was headed outside to walk the dogs, make sure they go to the bathroom, brought both of them out. And one of the cool things about this format, the 10-minute format that I'm starting to like, is one, because it's only 10 minutes, it's the inspiration can kind of, I feel like, come from anywhere. Like, I have general ideas in my head what I want to talk about. But tonight, nature was my muse, so shout out to nature. Thank you, undefeated. And that was really cool. The other thing I like about this is that because it's a 10-minute structure, I can get an idea, and I feel like as I'm starting to do more of these, it's easy for me to like kind of structure what to talk about in 10 minutes. You don't have to go crazy. There's always going to be a little bit of rambling. That's just part of who I am. But I like those things about it, and it's kind of like a daily journal also, which is really, really fun. But anyway, taking the dogs out, annoyed, and it's windy out. It's not that cold. I live in Colorado, so I feel like most of the time we have a pretty awesome winter as far as winters are concerned. And walking the dogs out, dusk is starting to settle. It's a full moon, or at least the full moon is starting to come up. I'm really fortunate that the backside of our house basically faces straight on east, so we get to see really epic sunrises and awesome moon rises as well. And I guess it's called, I looked this up, the full moon in December is called the cold moon. So thank you, farmers, which is a pretty rad thing. Cold moon was coming on up, and it's just gorgeous outside. There I am, walking my dogs. They're being absolutely awesome, playing with each other, being funny. They both have herding breeds in them, and so like when they get really excited to play, they'll like do the little herding low crawl toward each other and run at each other and chase each other around. And it's just absolutely amazing to watch. And not to mention, as I'm watching the moon come up and it's kind of like slowly peeking up behind the trees, and then it, gets up into the full sky, it just is amazing. And this is something you could see a lot of and maybe take for granted. And I always find this, not always, but I often find this with people who live in what I might call stunning places. I feel like now when I take the time to notice it, I live in a stunning place. Every time I drive around Colorado, you look west toward the Flatirons over in Boulder, the Rockies, that whole area. I mean, it's just crazy on a clear day. It's so drastic. But the reason I bring this up is because I went out there kind of annoyed, frustrated at the dogs. You're ruining my, Sunday evening when I'm just inside stuffing a, microwave frozen pizza into my face, watching Ghost Rider on Hulu. I did actually. I watched Ghost Rider last night. I will admit that. Fight me on it. I think it's one of the best Marvel movies. Could probably use a remake. Outside, totally annoyed at the dogs. And then, I took a moment to pause and kind of look around at what was going on. And next thing I know, I'm like laying down, just watching the dogs play, enjoying just this like insane full moon and the surrounding area of it. And the reason I think this is even worthwhile talking about is as I've gotten older, I was way better at this when I was younger. We talked about this, I think, a little bit in the what would your 12-year-old self think, discussion a couple days ago. But just finding wonder in simple things. It's something you lose it as you get older. Not everybody does, but I definitely had. And I think you get tied up in so many things of like, I need to act a certain way because of this. I need to be this kind of person because of this. And the more you lay into those things, I really do feel like the more you lose the ability to truly be quote unquote present and just take appreciation of even the smallest things. I think the more I've thought about this and the more I've tried to focus on it over the last handful of years, the more I've realized like the day that I kind of can't find any appreciation in nature is like the day I need to sit down and be like, hey, like have a check-in, like, hey man, what's going on? What's up with you? There's like just some cruddiness or crappiness in my mind on that day if I cannot do that. Because it was just like a spectacular night. Space, nature. I think it's amazing. I don't have better words to describe it right now. It's a special moment for me, but it reminds me just a lot of good advice. And I just encourage people to try and take as much appreciation as possible in the small stuff. And I think one of the things this kind of mentality gets a bad rap for is that, like, I feel like sometimes people say things like, well, if you're just focused on being happy at these simple things, or, finding yourself in wonderment, or taking these like simple joys and pleasures, you're just not like paying attention to like the self-advancement and assessment and like what is wrong and how to get better and that kind of stuff. I mean, just some things are so fantastic, and they're just constantly accessible if you just spend a little bit of time to think about it. And I'd encourage, I try to encourage myself to do it more. And I know the more I've done it, sure as shit, the happier I've been. This was also a lesson that got reinforced to me by somebody who's a friend, good friend, and I look at as a mentor, learned a lot from, and just generally I enjoy being around him, Brian Chontosh, who everybody's probably like, who the hell is that? So Tosh, if you're familiar. But he said to me once, and I don't want to talk about this too much because maybe we can squeak him on as a guest someday. It's a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And he'll explain it better than I can. But he once said, point at the light. And knowing him, he didn't mean this just in a way as like, be falsely positive. But it's just that like hardship is, can be a constant, and challenges can be a constant. And piling on both on others and on yourself and on situations is really easy. But if you can take some time to like point at what's good, you always have like a starting point. This was other advice, similar advice I received from the first person I actually ever did CrossFit with, Mike Bazillion, who went on to open CrossFit Great Barrington in Western Mass. But I think he used to say something like, you might not like everything you see, but at least you see something you like. And again, that's like just that was not feedback. That's advice that stuck with me for, I don't know. I met Mike out of high school. So that stuck with me for a long time. And I just really, really think that's fantastic advice, because it's easy not to see those things and then go on just having like a big crappy day for no good reason. There's probably some good reasons to have a crappy day, but there's also a million reasons around you to find some light. So it was a rad day. Kicked the day off. Dropped Cassandra's mom off at the airport, and which was cool. I count myself really lucky. I get along super well with the in-laws. I hate all the terms, just the family. And it's I hear some friends who are like, oh, holidays, I got to see the in-laws. I probably think sometimes I like Cassandra's parents maybe even more than her and her sister do. I definitely also try to play favorite with them. So no competitive psychopathy there at all. So we dropped her off. Then we went to Denver and we grabbed coffee at a place called Levin, which is a cool little delicatessen. But we started going there because they have, we met some friends there, but they have Freddo espresso, which if you know what that is, you know. And if you don't know what that is, you're welcome. It's like a Greek iced coffee espresso. And like all good tourists, we got lucky enough to take a trip to Greece. And like all good tourists, we discovered something there and basically acted like we were the first people to discover it ever. And then that's all we drink now. We're obsessed with it. That'll probably wax and wane, but we love it. So thank you, Levin, for having those and other delicious snacks. But what else? Oh, speaking of the wonder thing and the 10-minute journal format, one thing I wanted to share, and I think it's like a cool challenge, is I journaled a lot when I was younger. This is a little weirdo. And I really liked it. It's fun actually to go back and read some of those, because it wasn't just about me like, my parents won't let me be me. And I just turned Linkin Park up to 11. But there's like a lot of little tips in there, things, recipes, just like things I was learning at the time. I, for some reason, journaled that stuff, which is cool. But I fell out of that habit for sure. And one of the things I've tried to do through, recently, sometimes successfully, sometimes inconsistently and unsuccessfully is look at photos I've taken throughout the last, I don't know, whatever year, and then write a journal entry on whatever day that photo was taken. Write a journal entry about that photo. And it's a cool exercise. I challenge someone to do it, even just like for like, I don't know, a dozen photos in their phone, just in terms of like taxing your memory in terms of looking back on that event. And it's just a really fun way to relive experiences in a way that's a little more in-depth than just flipping through the 10 million terrible photos that you took on your phone. So there you go. Be in wonderment. Reflect on your photos. And try Freddo espresso. See you guys tomorrow. That's the 5th one.